Today on the table, we have a Smith and Wesson Model 10. So this is a K-frame revolver. It was designed back in 1899. It was made basically from 1899 until currently it's still being produced. So they've made actually over 6 million of these. It came in multiple different variants. So this is a Model 10. And this Model 10 actually came out in 1957, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But this is, or the different variants that it came in was, there was a 38 that it came in. Well, they call it a 38 MP. And then there was an MP model 1902, and then a 1905, and then a Victory model. And then after all of those started this model 1910. It was used in the service for actually since its inception, since 1899 until present, and had been used in many different world wars. World War I, there was World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam War. And then obviously there was quite a few other wars after that as well, and even before, but just not as common. It weighs about 34 ounces without anything in it. It is a 4-inch barrel, which is the most common size of these. It did come in multiple different barrel lengths, so you could get a 2, a 2.5. I'm actually looking for a 2, which is the snub nose, and then a 3-inch, a 4-inch, which is this, a 5-inch, and then a 6-inch as well. And then they actually had like a heavy barrel, which I'm also going to find one of those. It's the barrel on it is just much more meaty. It's just a much more massive barrel. And then this is chambered in 38 special, which I can show everybody here. It's a 6-shot 38 special, obviously not loaded, right there. It came in multiple different cartridges though. So it was a 38 long Colt, like I said, 38 special, which is what this is. And then there's a 38 Smith and Wesson, which is a 38 by 200 is what they call that. So a little bit smaller of a cartridge than the standard 38 caliber. So you can see that here. This one is all original. This one has its actual double diamond grips. So these are the much older versions of the grips. And I'll show you this one here is a 10-, this is a 10-5. So you can see that here. I don't know if you can see it in there. Let me look and see. And this is an early one, thus the grips on it as well. So these are the standard Smith and Wesson grips, but in the very first variations, they only had this diamond on the inside of the gripped panel. So in the later variations, they got rid of this. So you'll see that on some other ones when you look. So if you are looking for the earliest one you can find, it will have this diamond on the inside of the diamond grips. So I wanted it because it was just, you know, I wanted it to be all original and as old as possible. And it does have its original trigger and original trigger here and original hammer here, as you can see here. You can look at the differences here. You know, it's got like a ridge here on the trigger, and then kind of has like a target hammer. It's actually very grippy on the back. It's pretty cool. Sight-wise, it does have this blade front sight, and then the rear sight's just kind of like this notch. I mean, you're really just lining it up. There isn't much to it, as you can see there. But it, like I said before, it is a 6-shot, like most of them are. You can see there, so it's 6 shots. So just a little bit of history about it, because it is the most manufactured revolver there ever was. After the other variants that I mentioned before, like the M&P and the Victory model, so those were used during the wars, like World War I, World War II. If you watch like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, you can see the one fellow, he has in the movie, he's carrying a Victory model. One of the little army guys that's on a horse in the movie. When it was Indy younger, he had the Victory model. But so they ran those two models for a long time, and then starting in 1957, those models were replaced by the Model 10. So the Model 10 actually came out in 1957. The heavy barrel, that was introduced in the 10-1 variant. So the earliest you'll be able to find a heavy barrel will be 1959. And then in the 10-2 variant, which came out in 1961, they changed the extractor rod. So I think there was like a thread change on the extractor rod. And then on the 10-3, there's another extractor rod change, but that was for the heavy barrel as well. Then there's a 10-4, which started in 1962. that eliminated the trigger or guard screw on it. You can see that here. And then all while I'm talking about that, all of those still have a pinned barrel and recessed cylinders here. So the what happened though is then you have a the 10-5. So with that one, they changed the sight, and then the 10-6 they eliminated the trigger guard screw, and then there's the 10-7, the 10-8, and the 10-9, and the 10-10. You know, they kept, you know, changing, again, more changes on those. I think when they ended up getting rid of the pinned barrel, I think that was I'm trying to see what variant that was when they started taking the pin out. I think it was in the late 80s, like around maybe the 10-10 variant is when they got rid of the pin barrel. And I think I just misspoke too in regards to this one does not have the recessed cylinders. So like when you put a round in, it doesn't fit perfectly flush. So that is a cheaper, faster manufacturing process to just, when they manufacture or when they mill the barrels, they don't have to have that extra step to recess these in there. As you can see, it is just a standard fitting for those. But yeah, I've shot this one. It's a lot of fun. It's like in a bazillion different movies. They've made, like I said, they've made it forever. The other cool thing too is, well, I don't know if it's cool, but since they still do make these, as of 2012, they only make them in this 4-inch variant. So they do not make the shorter, the longer barrels or the heavy barrels. So on all the modern ones from 2012 and after, they all have a 4-inch barrel. And again, this is the most popular revolver and really handgun of the 20th century. This is the one they've made the most of, with the most variants for, and they still make them. So it's just super cool. I wanted to have it because I knew it was the most popular handgun revolver that they've had for that period of time, and it's just it's super cool. And this one's in fantastic condition. You can see it has just a little mark right here. I don't know if I can even, yeah, see there's just a little chip mark or something there, but there's no holster wear. Maybe there's just a tiny little mark right there, but other than that, it's all original finish. It's original dark blue finish. They did come in a nickel finish, but that was a different model variant is what they call it. But yeah, just if you're looking for one, you know, I would highly recommend to try to find an older one. This one, you can look up the serial number. If I remember right, this one's from the 60s. It's pretty close. I think this is, you know, like a I think it's like 63, 65, somewhere in there is when this one was made. But you can see there. But yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know if you want to see any other specific Smith and Wesson revolvers. I do have quite a few, so you will see a lot of videos of those coming. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions.